Welcome to the Lean Solutions Podcast, where we discuss business solutions to help listeners develop and implement action plans for true lean process improvement. I am your host, Patrick Adams. Hello and welcome to the Lean Solutions Podcast. My guest today is Ovidiu Contras. Avi is a lean coach and author. He actually authored 2 books, Navigating the Lean Transformation and Untangling with Value Stream Mapping. Both are a reflection of his own experiences over 20 years of lean as a continuous improvement employee. So I'm excited to have you on the show. Welcome to the show, Avi.
Thank you for having me, Patrick. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm looking forward to diving in here because before we hit record, we were chatting a little bit about tangled environments, which is what we're going to be talking about today. But similarly, you and I have both worked in organizations where we had some challenges and some struggles with CI deployments, and so we'll dive into that today. I'm excited to hear some of your experiences. And speaking of that, obviously, some of our listeners maybe don't know you or your background. I gave a little bit of a bio, but can you just maybe walk us through your lean career path and kind of help us understand a little bit about your background and experience?
Absolutely. So very short, my career started back in 2000 when I got my, the classical certification for Lean and Six Sigma. And then I started professing that and got some successes with savings and so on. But then some time after, I just learned, I learned the hard way that I was doing everything I was doing it wrong. So, it was just it happened when I met my sensei. And I realized that it's not tools. It's not tools. I was in love with tools beforehand, and I was completely forgetting about the people, respect for people, so you could see it even in my behavior. So when I met my sensei, that's where it was this big, change in my career. It's my aha moment to say, hey, there's more to this than the tools. And after that, after some successes in the manufacturing environment, where you can go, you walk on the Gemba and you see, the parts and everything. It's easy to see the waste. I started to be exposed to the Tangled environment, that you were mentioning before. And as I was entering this new territory for me, I find it extremely exciting, and the fact that you have a lot of lean principles that apply to that. So lean principles are universal. So Tangled environment, it's not an exception, except for the fact that no one was really into it, and from that perspective, I started doing these improvements and have some significant results, like cutting lead times for 80%, and stuff like that. So just to say that I evolved from being a manufacturing, CA specialist to something more, in transactions, in environments where the product is hard to see,
Sure.
So
Sure.
that was a challenge, but this motivated me to go into it. So my first book is about all my experiences. My second book is mostly from these Tangled environments.
Very nice. And so, Avi, I mentioned that you were a continuous improvement employee. What were some of the titles that you held in your 20 years of lean? In what industry were you working in?
So I was working in consumer products. I worked in research and development, actually. I worked in aerospace. So very different industries, and my titles were Lean Black Belt. I was continuous improvement employee. I was Kaizen promotion office. So again, the names changed according to the company and the program that the company had.
Sure.
But these were like, and now the Lean coach.
Okay, got it. And just obviously people can hear, I would say I think it's 52% of our listening audience is US based, but clearly your language is a little bit different. So where in the world are you calling in from, just so we can give everyone perspective on where you are?
So Montreal, Canada.
Yes.
So probably not very far from your location, but
that's right.
It's still North America.
Yes, absolutely. It is North America. And you talked, Avi, a little bit about tangled environments, and that's a term that isn't used regularly in the corporate world, that I've heard at least. So can you help our listeners to understand what it is that you mean when you use the term tangled environments?
Yes, absolutely. And what I would like to give is here a simple example that illustrates what a tangled environment is. So
Perfect.
let's say there's a lady called Claire, and she's a supplier account manager for a multinational company that manufactures and develops, very complicated products. Let's say up to 50,000 pieces go into that product.
Okay.
So Claire just got a call from one supplier that provides a critical part, and the supplier tells Claire, "Look, Claire, I'm sorry, I won't be able to deliver your parts because you didn't pay the invoice. So without payments, I'm not going to be able to send you more products." So first thing, Claire is in panic. She's in panic. Now,
right.
Second thing, she just goes into her system, into the enterprise resource planning system of this very big corporation. And she goes there and she looks at, okay, so is the PO released? Is my PO? What's the history of my purchase order? And it was a purchase requisition. Was the supplier name correct in there? And then after an hour or two, she talks with the buyer, and the buyer tells her, "Oh yeah, it was a small thing here, but we've corrected it, so PO is okay." Now, this does not answer the question, right? Why is not paid? So, unfortunately, she has access in that ERP system just to supply chain screens, because of the all sorts of security reasons, because in this process, finance is involved, right? So she picks up the phone and then she calls accounts payable. "Hey, did you receive an invoice?" "Oh, yes, we received an invoice." And then she starts interrogating, and it's not just one single person that can give her an answer. Is all of these details of the invoice according to the PO? I mean, is there any mismatch in between them? So they couldn't find at the beginning, and then as hours go by and as could even days go by, there's some sort of pressure that comes even from the production people. So emergency calls come from the production. "Hey, our stock is depleting. Where are the new parts?" "Well, we didn't pay them, so please, we need to find out what's happening." So then all of a sudden this goes to the escalation thing, and then it's late night meetings with the higher management to, "Oh, what's happening?" And then office politics come into the play, and then people show, "Oh, it's you, no, it's you, look what you did." And all of these office politics go on in here. So Claire gets really, really stressed, At the end, she finds out that the invoice is okay and everything's fine. But this does not answer the question. So what Claire does after, she has to go to production to see if the parts were received or not. Did we have a receipt for those goods that were supposed to come? And then after another day, another 2, 3 days, she finds out from the clerk that yes, the parts arrived, but then when they looked at the invoice and the parts, well, the invoice came first. But what this does in the system is it blocks the payment because, hey, we received an invoice, but we didn't get the parts.
Right.
So this is an example. And now Claire goes and unblocks this, and then the payment is made, and all the drama is set aside. But this is like a short description what a tangled environment is. So if I were to get just the big points in all of this, is it's first of all, it's a multifunction environment, right? You had accounts payable, you have production, you have supply chain, you have the buyers and everything. It's knowledge workers in general that are in this type of environment. The work advancement is tedious and convoluted. It's not always straightforward. Well, it's never straightforward. It's tedious and convoluted. The product in itself is hard to see because everything happens in the information system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the product transforms, right? So in our case, the product is the payment to the supplier, right? But it starts with a purchase order. It transforms into an invoice. It transforms into a receipt of the goods, and then it transforms into the payment, right? Mm. And of course, in this environment, you have office politics and a lot of waste that are flourishing. And I can give some other examples like new product development. If you look at new product development in the complicated product, for instance, or aircraft development, right? Software development, that's the same thing. Custom engineering, IT deployment of new projects, or banking, or supply chain transactions, or insurance. All of these have these traits of tangled environments. I hope that answered the question.
It does, and I think there's probably many people who are listening that are like, "Oh yeah, that's me. That's my environment. That's the area that I work in." Again, like you said, it doesn't matter the industry. Those types of challenges are, prevalent in many different areas, and so, even while you were saying that, I was thinking to myself of other examples that would fit perfectly into that same scenario. And there's obviously more challenges that that come with that type of tangled environment, like you're saying. What would you say, when it comes to improving an area like that? Obviously you worked in, some tangled environments, and you were part of the team that was improving some of those environments. And your book, Untangling with Value Stream Mapping, obviously hits on that. So what would you say would be some of the challenges that maybe you experienced or that others are experiencing when it comes to improving work in a tangled environment?
Yes, I would say the first big obstacle is the fragmented process ownership. In Claire example, we clearly see that we have 3 departments that are involved in all of this. You have supply chain, you have production, and then you have finance. Okay, but what this means is there's no owner for the end-to-end. You see, so no one has the ownership from the PO to receiving the part.
That's right.
And when you try to improve this process, of course, you can improve within supply chain. You can improve within finance, but the big gain comes when you go across, right? So from that perspective, it's very difficult to have all of the stakeholders sitting at the same table, because if Claire goes to supply chain says, I'm fine. Everything's fine with me. If she goes to accounts payable says, oh no, everything's fine with me. She goes to production, no, everything's fine with me. But in the end, the supplier didn't get the invoice, you know? So people perceive they don't have the problem. So when it comes to put them together to resolve something, it's very difficult, because they say, no, I don't have anything to bring to this. So please, I have some other important things to do, you know?
Sure.
So
well, I'll just
yeah.
say too, Avi, you know, I worked as a supervisor over one department within a larger value stream in an organization that I guess would fall under your definition of tangled environments, where they also did not have one owner over the entire value stream. And I remember, you know, for me personally, I had certain metrics for my department that I needed to hit in order for me to get promoted, in order for me to get paid more, you know. So for me, it was like, well, you know, I'd like to care about the challenges that you have on both sides of my department, but at the same time, I'm being incentivized to make sure that I get product through my department as quickly as possible, which is causing this huge logjam at the downstream from my department, and it's running the upstream department out of product. But I'm incentivized as the supervisor to do that, right? So obviously you understand the challenges that come with that.
100%.
I can attest to the experience that you're talking about.
Exactly, and that's the thing. This is where office politics come into play, you know, because let's say you're that supervisor that wants to get promoted, then you're gonna do whatever is in your power to bring your performance metrics to the high. But the problem is your performance metrics are related to your department, not with the overall, you know.
That's right.
So
very true.
That's about it. So then people are gonna take no matter what means, you know,
in order to do that. Yeah.
So exactly. So and the second biggest challenge in all of this is the work advancement is extremely difficult to be seen. As we saw in the simple example, Claire and the others need to navigate through maybe a couple of dozens of screens, you know, and they might even need to look at paper in files somewhere in order to gather all the information. So you don't know where the product transformation is, you know, in the big picture. So that's the other very challenging thing in all of this. So how you visualize this when you try to improve is extremely important.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick. So sorry to interrupt this episode of the Lean Solutions podcast, but I have an important question. Are you tired of the old ways of doing business? Feeling overwhelmed by inefficiencies and wasted resources? It's time to transform your approach and embrace the power of lean methodology. Welcome to our revolutionary Lean Solutions Academy with courses on lean methodology. Whether you're a seasoned executive or just starting out, our courses are designed to equip you with the knowledge and skills that you need to streamline your operations and maximize your success. Our courses are packed with actionable strategies and real-world examples to help you apply lean principles to your own business. You'll learn how to optimize your workflows, reduce lead times, and deliver value to your customers more efficiently. From value stream mapping to 5S methodology, Six Sigma courses, Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, we cover all the essential tools and techniques used in Lean. You'll gain a deep understanding of waste identification, continuous improvement, and problem-solving methodologies. Our online platform allows you the flexibility to learn at your own pace from anywhere in the world. With high-quality video lessons, interactive quizzes, and downloadable resources, you'll have everything that you need to succeed. By enrolling in our Lean courses, you gain a competitive edge, increasing your operational efficiency and unlocking your business's true potential. Join the ranks of successful change agents who have embraced Lean and revolutionized their organizations. Enroll today and you'll get $100 off your first course, which practically pays for any of our e-learning courses. We want to make it so easy for you to jumpstart your Lean journey. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. Visit our website now and claim your discount at www.findleansolutions.com/academy. Now, back to the show.
Right. Well, and that leads to my next question, right? Because obviously those are two massive challenges that probably many of our listeners that are working in these tangled environments are also having themselves. But the question is, how do we get out of it? How do we begin to untangle the value stream that, or the challenges that we're having? And so I guess the question would be, what helped guide you, or what can help guide teams or our listeners to help improve, on some of these tangled environments?
Yes. So, and it was not easy. I'm just starting to say that it was not easy, because of that. But there were moments where I succeeded to have everybody at the same table. So now the first condition was there. So, yay, let's go ahead.
Right.
But now I was not able, as I was trying value stream mapping, for instance. Okay. So I pull off my manufacturing value stream mapping books, and we started mapping that way. And the trouble was, by the middle of the exercise, people wouldn't recognize their world there. And at the end of the exercise, we couldn't get anything, So that got me thinking, said, something's wrong here, So that helped me then find a method to go over it, the VS value stream mapping exercise, and to make it such that people, can see exactly what's happening, and then they can improve the work, right?
Okay. So you're saying that in the example that you're giving us, you had a value stream manager identified that oversaw the whole value stream. That was the first.
So it was not as easy as that. Okay. But it was, I got the buy-in for the 3 departments to participate in the value stream mapping exercise.
Okay. So you're able to get everybody together, or an agreement to get together and actually step back and look at the big picture, look at the entire value stream.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so that value stream mapping was obviously the tool that you decided to use. And walk us through that process. What did that look like for, let's just say, someone like maybe Claire? I don't know if this is the same example or not, but someone like Claire, a worker, someone who is working inside of one of those 3 departments. What did it look like for them to walk through that entire process, and did it work?
Yes. So first of all, the first questions that we asked were, okay, so what activity you are doing at this point in the process? And then the first answer was, it depends. Okay. So we go further, second step in the process. So now what happens here? Well, it depends. And then we went to the third step in the process, and then, of course, it depends. And you know what, Patrick? They were all right. They were all right, because the complications of the systems, and the complication of the type of job they're doing. This is not repetitive work that we're talking here, Okay. Oh, you have this widget and you need to screw this widget, and we have the cycle time, we have all of these good measures there. no, it's not in
Right.
here. So
Right.
when we started doing this and we tried to put the boxes, with information about the process steps, it was a complete failure.
Wow. So obviously, Avi, you pulled out the books, like you said, and it was like, okay, do these things. And you were like, okay, wait a minute. It's not working like you guys said it was going to. How many of us,
Exactly.
and I know there's listeners out there that are like, oh yeah, because you sit in a classroom and it's easy to talk about it in the classroom, or it's easy to, read about it in a book. But when you go out and you actually start applying the principles, things are different sometimes, right? Like you said, this is the experience that you had. Things are different. Well, oh, they didn't talk about this, or they didn't mention this challenge that I'm having now, or whatever, fill in the blank. And I think there's so many of us that are listening in that are probably in that same boat where something like that didn't work exactly the way they said it would in the class or in the book. And so this was the case for you, being that it was non-repetitive work. And so what did you do? Can VSM work for non-repetitive work? And what does that look like?
Oh, excellent question, Patrick. And of course, I pained a lot, so it was painful, and it was not at the first shot that everything went smoothly. But I went back to the basics, and I asked myself the question: so what's a value stream map? Well, at the basic of the basics, you have your activities flow, you have your information flow, and you have your timeline, right?
Right.
And then I was thinking, okay, so manufacturing, what's important in manufacturing? Well, it's very important to know what's your takt time, how you respond to your takt time, how many operators you need for this, so it's this very, very big focus on the activities flow. And you have boxes, I've seen boxes with at least 12 measures in there, even the value added or non-value added put in there. So then I asked myself the question: so if I were in Claire's shoes, what would talk to her? Well, for Claire, she sees things completely different. Is now I need to talk to this person, now I need to talk to the other person, now I need the decision from here, now I need to make sure that this screen shows me this, I need to go in that screen. So the focus is completely different. The focus is to the information flow, not to the activities flow. So with this realization, because in all of this, as I mentioned at the beginning, Claire, she's stressed out, but how do you put in a value stream map that someone is stressed out or is frustrated?
Right.
So this is where I started using, the stick man in red color with the dark cloud above the head.
Oh, okay.
Saying that this person is frustrated. And you know what? If this person is frustrated and that person gives specific indications to perform work to another person, it's a trigger to perform work. So, for instance, you have a big governance meeting with all higher management in that meeting, and then one of the the leaders says, hey, you just need to go and do this. That's absolutely a trigger to perform work, and that's very important to be recorded in the map. But everything in this, it's information flow. So use red for information flow and black for the activities flow. So I realized that in this type of environment, where I had like 1 to 2 for the activities flow versus information flow. Sorry, 2 to 1. Now it's the reverse. So I need to have more in the information flow than in the activities flow. And once we put this on paper, I would have people coming in. First of all, they would scratch their heads. So what? Oh, it's me that runs from here to here. Oh, now I understand. Oh, yes, I was frustrated here. Yes, we had so many meetings to do this, and people started effectively, feeling the map. Oh, that was me.
Wow.
It was a very interesting dynamic that built as we were building the map. So it's an ownership that starts there. It's a commitment that starts there at the map. Well, we all know the map is just wallpaper if we don't do anything. But without commitment and engagement, even the actions won't lead to what we want. So this is how how important the information flow is in this type mapping.
So powerful. And one of the things that you said, Avi, about I was envisioning the people walking in and looking at the map on the wall, and just the power of getting that out of everyone's heads, or taking this entire value stream, putting it all together on one wall, and allowing them to stand back and look at that and envision everything or see everything in one big picture. There's just so much power in that, especially for those organizations that have never done anything like that before. And to be able to bring those teams together and have them, help have those open discussions about what's happening in their department and how that affects the next department and so on. I have to imagine that those conversations around that map were just so powerful. Can you share with us any ahas that some of the team members had? Again, I don't know if Claire's a real person or not, but I'm just thinking about Claire staying in front of that map and having an aha moment, or hearing things that other people are talking about and how that affected her. Can you share with us any examples?
So, a quote from a person in a workshop like this, saying that, "Oh, this is what I'm telling for the past 10 years, but no one listens."
Mm.
And this is so telling. I got this remained in my head, because these people that live in tangled environments, they complain because life is not easy, because all of the things that happen there. So they go to their managers, and managers, very distracted persons, something enters this ear, goes out the other ear, if it's not the problem at hand, so and they are labeled as complainers. Oh, that person is complaining, it's complaining.
Right.
Why? Because this is just verbal. Now, the same persons tried to put their complaints in PowerPoints with bullet points. The problem was, after 10 slides, they forgot what was in the first 9 slides, So it doesn't stick. But when you have, as you just mentioned, not one wall, but 4 walls covered with all the chaos that goes on, even for a very busy executive, it's going to take milliseconds to recognize that something's wrong.
Right.
Absolutely. So other quote was, I can't believe what we're doing to ourselves. So these are clear indications that people now can see the issues. They can experience them in a very direct way, which shows the importance of that visual that's in front of them. I don't know if that answered your question.
Absolutely. No, it does. It does. And I think about those who are listening in that are working in similar environments, that they would consider, the environment that they're working in, a tangled environment, and on top of that, they're working in an industry or an organization where they don't have repetitive work. And so they're resonating with these examples and these things that we're talking about. Avi, do you have any recommendations for those who say, yes, that's me, and what do I do? You know, because maybe they're not familiar with value stream mapping. Maybe they don't feel like a traditional value stream map would fit or work for their organization because it is not repetitive work, or it's, you know, it fits with what you're saying. What recommendations would you have for some of those who are listening in that want to try this in their business?
Right. So my first recommendation would be, don't even think starting if you didn't cover the whole process ownership. You know, so if you don't have the acceptance and the commitment for the parties that are part of that stream,
Sure.
Don't even start. Don't even start. It's not worth it. People are going to be there, and there's going to be more frustration. Some are going to come, are going to go, you know, so it's not going to work. And I'm telling you by my own experiences. You know, we had once a BSM exercise like this, and they were saying, you know what, we're busy. So we had one person from one department coming at 1 hour of day. Then we had another person from another department coming at the other day, you know. So first of all, it took a long time to put the current state in place. Second, guess what happened when we said, okay, so now it's the revision of the entire value stream map, so please come. They showed up all. But you know what happened? No one agreed with what's on the map.
Yeah.
You know,
I've had that before.
So it was a waste of time from everybody. Why? Because we didn't have the ownership and the commitment at the beginning from all to do all of this. You know,
right? Very important.
The other very important. The other thing that I would recommend is you have your ownership. You perform the exercise. Everything's nice, but then you have your value stream improvement plan, but then no action comes after. Right. There's no bigger disengagement means for the people than not actioning whatever the people suggested it needs to be done.
So true.
You know, so I was in this other exercise, and as part of the preparation, we looked at how many times we tried to tackle that before. 6 times.
Wow.
6 times they tried, and they say, oh no, it's not working. It's not. Why it was not working? Because they didn't have the resources and they didn't have the money to put in the actions in place. You know, so it's good to learn these things beforehand than after. But the only thing that I'm saying, please execute the actions from the improvement plan, because otherwise people are just gonna be totally disengaged and they wouldn't like to be in another improvement effort later.
Right. It becomes a complete waste of time. It sabotages your CI efforts in your organization, for sure.
100%. 100%. And then it's the fact that you have to have a reliable source to guide you through this process. You know.
Absolutely.
So I had my sensei, but my sensei was not in the Tangled environment. But I could follow the sensei thoughts as I put this new method in place. You know. So look out for references for this Tangled environment, and make sure that you're following some of the recommendations that are in there.
That's right. And Avi, I'm also assuming that much of this is laid out in your most recent book, Untangling with Value Stream Mapping, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
So the book covers everything from preparation to execution and to follow up. It's comprehensive, and it's written through the experiences that I've been through.
Okay, good. And are both your books, Navigating the Lean Transformation and Untangling with Value Stream Mapping, are both of those available on Amazon, or is there a website that we should send people to?
So there's Amazon, yes, and online stores where there's books. So
Perfect.
my first one is mostly on Amazon. The second one is a Routledge Productivity Press book. So it's all over the place.
Perfect. And what we'll do is we'll drop the links to both of your books into the show notes so that people can go directly to the show notes, click on the link, and grab one of your books or both of your books there. Is there another way, if anyone has further questions about your experience or about your books or this process, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So I'm on LinkedIn. So if you look for Ovidiu Contras on LinkedIn, you can find me there. So you can contact me, and we can have chats if.
That's great.
required.
I appreciate you sharing that, and we'll put that into the show notes as well. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, they can connect with you there. Avi, it's been great to have you on. Love the conversation. I have your book is in the mail, so I'm looking forward to reading it. And then I'd love to catch up again. Maybe we can dive into some of your other experiences that are in your first book, Navigating the Lean Transformation. I'd love to talk about, some of the challenges that you've had, growing up in CI or 20 years of lean. I'm sure there's lots of good stories that we could talk through next time you're on the show.
Most definitely. I would really like that. And again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Really appreciate the angles that you bring to the lean community.
Thank you, Avi. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Lean Solutions Podcast. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please give us a review. Thank you so much.